Hi kids, I'm Michael Bane and I am triggered. Of course, we're coming to you from Dragon House Studios in the secret hidden bunker in the Rocky Mountains, and you can always find us on michaelbane.tv. We're continuing our coverage of SHOT 2020 this week with the continuing saga of Merrisa and Diane Bishop, two very eclectic gunsmiths who are committed to doing things that people say they can't do. That's their trick. This, of course, is my Bishop rifle. It's a 458 SOCOM Hunter. You've seen it here before. But Merrisa and Diane have been spending a lot of time in California working on two pet projects. Let's visit. Okay, Merrisa, over the years now, we've got a couple of years of time here. One of the things you've been steadily working on is the Marlin Lever Gun 458 SOCOM.
Yes, sir.
It's been your white whale, right?
Yes.
And finally, you had it out there. I shot it. It works. It goes fairly smoothly. And this is the secret, right? Which we can't show much because
That's the heart of the gun.
people will look at it and say, hey, Marlin bolts are not built for 458 SOCOM. Marlin bolts are built for something very specific, and it's not that.
Yeah, they're an uncontrolled feed on the 475.
So this is something proprietary. This is a Bishop bolt
Yes.
that solves all the problems that we actually talked about last year.
Yeah.
Because you were having problems last year with this and getting the bolts machined. And so basically the way you got around that problem is you said, oh, what the heck? I'm just going to have them make my own.
Yeah.
That's generally what you do, isn't it?
Yeah, well, and by doing that, the cost of my bolt dropped by about $700 a bolt.
I know you like the wood.
My cost is a lot less now for me to have it made, which I won't disclose. But it is a heat-treated bolt, it's steel. It's all one piece. We've eliminated multiple parts from the bolt. It uses a one-piece firing pin now. And we're also still developing it to do a couple of more things. We're working on putting an M16 extractor in it.
Okay.
And then an M16 ejector to get rid of some of the ejection problems that Marlins are commonly known for.
Especially on the longer cartridges. You know, when you got
Yeah.
Marlins running longer cartridges, they weigh a lot.
Yeah.
And the issue is pitching them out.
Yeah.
You know, I can get them clear of that port, and the larger cartridges are going to scrape against they kind of bind inside because they're roughly the same size as the port.
Right. So, of course, we had to open up the port on the lever action so it'll eject the 458 SOCOM. But the ejector that's designed for the 4570 engages the case in the wrong position. So I have to modify that myself. And we're going to be doing, like I said, future generations of it. So if someone were to buy this rifle, I get a new design for the bolt or a modification, I send them a brand new bolt.
That's pretty good. So you're going, they will benefit from your ongoing research.
Yeah, our customers will always get improved as I improve the gun.
Another issue that always with a Marlin, or actually not with just Marlin, any lever action gun sensitive to overall length of the cartridge. That is the nature of the lifter.
Yes.
It needs to be. That's why sometimes people buy a 357 and says it'll run 38s. Some will, some won't.
Yeah, the nature of the lever action is if the cartridge is too long, the nose is still inside the tube, and the carrier will lock up on the cartridge. If the cartridge is too short, the back following cartridge base comes in over the top of the carrier, and that's what's locking you up. So we have devised a system so our 458 SOCOM lever action will feed anywhere between 1.94 through 2.25 inches. So what this means for you, Michael, as a shooter, is you can be shooting 600 grain subsonics today, and in about 15 minutes you can turn around and shoot a 400 grain spear. Or you can shoot a 250 grain hollow point.
Or you could push it up to even some of the super heavies.
Yeah.
Yeah, 600. If you can adjust your overall length in the gun as opposed to in the ammunition, which is typically how you would address overall length in a lever gun, you would change the ammunition you use. But in your case, you're talking about changing the rifle to adapt to the ammunition.
Yeah, but it's only one part. And what we do is we send you the part in 4 different iterations. And all you do is match the rifle now to your cartridge instead of the cartridge to the rifle. We do it the other way around. Really, it's the way it should be done. And if you end up if we spacer we send you is not going to work for you, you send me your cartridge and carrier, and I'll make one for you at no charge.
That's great. Just a brief mention, and we'll cut off here and come back. Having shot the gun, the muzzle brake is enormously effective. I've got a pretty good handle on what heavy lever guns are like shooting them. A lot of experience, a lot of rounds downrange. The muzzle brake is exceptionally effective. Essentially, you took the level of a 458, which is in effect 4570, down to, call it 30-30.
Yeah, it's about the
Easy.
recoil of a 30. It's same recoil, it's just felt differently, like a 30-30. I made the mistake of originally prototyping the rifle without a muzzle brake.
Bruises.
First time I fired it, I made a phone call up to our barrel builder and said, you need to rebarrel this set me up with a muzzle brake. And they went ahead and did it. So now we have an 8-port muzzle brake on the rifle that did the action that you found.
All right, let's talk about the cartridge. We've got lots more with Merrisa Bishop and her interesting, absolutely fascinating thumper of a cartridge when Triggered returns. This week's Triggered is sponsored by Lipsy's and their Gun of the Month, the innovative firearms from Franklin Armory, Lucid Optics, on target and under budget, Tandem Cross and their great selection of 22 parts, and Cimarron Firearms, the king of the cowboys. Welcome back to Triggered, my video. We're here with Merrisa Bishop, who's really not all that sane. Over the years, Merrisa Bishop has developed, along with her partner Diane, have developed some absolutely fascinating projects. And we've sort of been involved from the very beginning as they kind of grow up. This is another one of those little grown-up projects here.
Yeah, I'm going to blame you for one of our rifles, though.
All right.
The lever action that you shot at Industry Day was because of you.
Well,
It was your idea for me to make one.
well, and you did, and now you're making this cartridge that, this is a cartridge that you use if, let's say you're attacked by a garbage truck. You woke up, you're in the middle of a Stephen King movie, all of a sudden the machines are sentient, the garbage truck attacks, you need a one-shot stop because you don't want to ruin the trophy. Garbage trucks mount up great. Tell us about this cartridge.
Well, this case I'm going to let you have. This is the 475 Bishop Short Magnum. The overall length of the cartridge is exactly the same as a 308. So what that means is I can now chamber an AR-10 in a 475 Magnum. It will produce on a 390 grain projectile, either solid copper or a jacketed bullet, 2,500 feet per second, 5,500 foot-pounds of muzzle energy, 65,000 psi, and I get a 99.6% powder burn out of it.
Now you're getting into serious African cartridges.
Yeah, it's nosebleed area.
You know, that's when you start getting into, the double rifle cartridges.
Yeah.
It usually takes to deliver that amount of energy. Or 450 Rigby, a bolt cartridge that is right around in that rough area there. This is a little bit bigger diameter bullet, and once again, this is something that you yourself cooked up.
That's the actual cartridge. This is the solid copper. The bullets are made for us by Cutting Edge. It's my design of the bullet. All they did was take my drawing and make it for us. And that thing, I have tested it against 3 concrete cinder blocks, and it passed completely through.
I can see that. That's a lot of energy being delivered at that point. What does it take to design a cartridge? Let's say, most people buy cartridges. They don't think much about what it takes to actually create one.
Well, this thing came to an existence because I was told it couldn't be done. Everyone was telling me this cartridge is the most powerful, this cartridge is the most powerful. They're all straight sidewall, straight wall cartridges. I'm looking at these big bore cartridges, I'm thinking, there's a lot of wasted room there. I go, why can't you go with a necked cartridge? It's going to give you more volume, increase the pressure. And the alleged experts that I spoke to, said it can't be done because it'll jam, it won't feed. And the epiphany I had is, why not just do center feed? If I do center feed, my only design constraint is the star chamber of the AR-10.
Right.
So this started off with the diameter of the AR-10 star chamber. The base is .589. The shoulder is 577. And it holds 78 grains of H335, which is, again, nosebleed territory.
And it's in the AR, it's just feeding straight up. It's a single column center feed, as opposed to the normal flippity floppity.
Yeah, if you try and do double stack and have it feed like a double stack, it instantly jams. They were absolutely correct. Once you go to a single stack Magnum like this, you can't go any bigger. I've done it. It just slides right in. I mean, the rifle doesn't care whether it's a bolt action or a gas-operated action. It still has a piece of mass stripping it from the cartridge. All it has to do is go into the hole. So we recoil filed the star chamber for center feed, and you ended up with this. RCC brass makes the brass for us. Each case is CNC machined from virgin brass.
Grief.
So what you're holding, the brand new piece, that's a match cartridge. If you trickle charge...
Because it's all been turned, each case is consistent because it's built
They're all
separately.
identical. They're all identical. And they're also annealed. You're going to get 10 reloads from this.
Which you're going to need to, because what does it cost to get 20 rounds?
20 rounds of the copper, $190 for that, if I make it. But what I'm doing is I'm trickle charging with a digital scale. I have 0 variance in powder drop. So if you were to buy ammunition from us, you're actually getting a match cartridge. The ammunition which you shot at the range, or was shot, is this hollow point, which is made by Hawk bullets, 390 grains. We were hitting 1,000 yards on a .475 caliber out of an AR-10.
Now that's what's surprising, because you can get the power out of a double cartridge, straight wall double cartridge. But what you get is a rainbow arc.
Yeah.
In terms of it, and you tend to think of it as 100 yards, or in the case of a .458 Winchester, a 300-yard cartridge. It's not designed to be pushed beyond that, but this reaches out as a 1,000-yard cartridge.
Our holdover was 5 mil,
which is it's flat. That's flat.
Now, after 1,000 yards, it starts to drop, of course, because you get ballistic. It becomes a rock. But at 1,500 yards, it's still lethal on thin-skinned game. It's traveling at over 700 feet per second with over 480 foot-pounds of energy at 1,500 yards.
It's a pretty impressive cartridge. I know that you flinched when she said $190, but within this realm, this is what you're talking about. When you start talking about even a hot loaded 4570 is going to bump to $100, $120. And when you get into, I have a 450, 400 3-inch Nitro Express, $130
now,
for 20 rounds.
Non-copper, this is $130 a box of 20.
Cheap at the price. And no, you can't shoot this out of your Remington 700 you got at home. You got to deal with Merrisa.
Now, we do build a bolt action in it using our bench rest action, but every rifle that someone buys comes in a locking tactical case. It comes with a 3-piece die set, which includes, with part of it's a factory crimp die, which are made by Lee.
Yeah.
And then a certificate for 100 bullets in 100 cases. So you would send the certificate to Hawk Bullets and also the RCC Brass, and I pay for your first 100 cartridges.
When you hear that garbage truck rumbling outside, you got that sick feeling in your stomach? One of the things I love about the gun business are people like Diane and Merrisa, who are talented, who are eclectic, and who will go years to build something that nobody else can build, or something that they've been told is impossible. I love this gun, by the way. It is a thumper. One of the advantages of a bolt-action 458, you can load up fairly heavy bullets with it. And you could probably see me taking this into the game fields a little bit later this year. I'm Michael Bane. This is Triggered. Find us on michaelbane.tv, and we will see you next Wednesday.